Oh, I'm sorry. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Just busy as ever.
Yes. So how many days?
10 days out.
10 days. Oh my gosh. You're almost
So
at peak week, April.
yeah, I feel like I'm already there. No, because
Well, honestly, I felt like I was there for about a month and I'm like, I gotta be close. I'm close. It's gotta be
how
close.
how you did that. You're just amazing.
Well, you're doing it.
Well, it feels like I'm not doing it as well. you
I
know.
bet you are. So I am super excited to be here with you. So I'm going to treat this like somewhat of an interview, okay? But I want us to talk about several things. But I do
Okay.
have some questions from viewers as well.
Oh, okay.
So obviously, let's just start with the introduction, April. So tell the audience who you are and what you do and what you're prepping for.
Okay. Well, I'm April, and I'm a mom. I have a family. I have a business. I have 4 children plus a couple bonus children from my husband, and so I work from home, and I've been working out, and I love working out. It's like my favorite thing. That's my escape, my way to get, like, that's my one piece of life that I can control, and it's getting my workout. And so anyway, my niece had become a pro bodybuilder, and her coach coached her, and basically somehow, I don't know how I got involved in this, but I decided to compete myself. And at first it was just kind of an idea. And then the more I worked with my coach and worked towards the goal, it became more real and like a reality. At first it was kind of like, I think I want to. And now it's like, okay, this is what I'm doing. And I've been working really hard at it. And I guess that's it. Anything else you need to know?
Well, so that was actually one of the questions, was what got you hooked or interested in competing? So when was your niece competing? When did you originally like get hooked?
um like watching, I guess, watching others, and she's been competing for a few years, but watching her body change and watching what she could do, and just wanting that for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then just surrounding myself with that type of people has really been the key element recently, because the gym I go to, the people that go to that gym, and you just kind of immerse yourself in the culture, and it sticks.
Right, right. So what is the show that you're getting ready to compete in?
I'm doing the Rocky Mountain NPC. It's a state level show here in Colorado, and I guess it's a lot of beginners first show.
Nice. So I will also answer the question as to what got me hooked
Okay.
In fitness or bodybuilding. So my first child was born in 1999, and so he's now 21. But when he was born, his dad, his family had run a grocery store for decades. Well, his dad had decided that he was going to go into the grocery store business, and he built a whole new big IGA. So the old grocery store, which was this little Mickermack on Main Street, I decided I needed to renovate that and make it a gym. So in 2000, April of 2000, I opened my first gym. And around that same time, they adopted the figure category. At the time, in competitions, all there was pretty much bodybuilding and fitness. And fitness was, of course, like routines, right, where they did gymnastics and all that kind of stuff. But in 2000, they had, it was somewhere around there, they had come up with figure. And so figure was different because you didn't have to do like the routines and gymnastics. And I'm like, I don't have time to do all that with like a kid and a gym and all that, right? So I'm like, I could do figure. That sounds like something really good, right? So it was around the time that my gym opened, I decided I was going to compete. So my first competition was actually, I was actually prepping for my first show when I was trying to open my first gym. I always like to do way too many things. So I did my first show in like April of 2001, I think. I did this show. It was the NPC Metrolina. It was in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And so like I just loved it because I had lifted for probably 7 years by that point anyway, mm-hmm. but I just loved it. And so then that kind of just got me hooked when it was like, I did one show and then I was like, how can I make myself better? You know, like for the next show, right? So then ever since then, I had many, between 2000 and 2009, there was another child in there. There was multiple years off, you know, and then like in 2009, I decided, you know what, this is like my life. So I'm just going to make it my life. You know, like everything I do is going to be about trying to build more muscle, make myself better. And of course, you know, if you're a natural competitor, it's so hard. It's so hard for, like, I am not genetically gifted to build muscle. So I like a challenge anyway. So it was a challenge for me, you know, and that's kind of what got me hooked. So, you know, I loved it and I've been trying to work on it ever since. But next question is, well, let me ask you this. This is my question. How are you feeling at this point in your prep? Like, be honest, because like I'm coming off the back end, right? So it has now been almost 5 weeks since my show. And that's a whole nother set of issues we'll talk about. But you got 10 days. And so I know what it's like 10 days. So coming into the show, what are you feeling right now?
Hey, I'm nervous, of course, excited, scared. I'm also like worried that I wish I had a little more time to finish, because like my body fat isn't as low as it I want it to be, and other competitors. And so I just like, I wonder like if I had a little more time, how much better it could be. But then it's like, I don't want to, you know, I just have to keep going and finish.
Yes. Well, you're going to finish strong. And just keep in mind too, that like your peak week is going to like, there's lots of things that happen in peak week. And like, it's not necessarily all about where your body fat level is at, right? Because honestly, like every show I have done, people have beat me that have been less conditioned than me. I have been leaner by far, but their shoulders are better. Like shoulders are my nemesis. Like my shoulders are that's always what I'm working on. And so it's always after that show, it's like, okay, here we go again. I'm trying to like build bigger shoulders, right? So don't ever doubt yourself, because like thinking that you're not because like it's the total package that matters. And your level of leanness is not necessarily what they're even looking for. And I will tell you, as somebody I've competed in too many shows to even tell you. I started in figure and I did like really spaced out shows, right? When I tried to, when I kind of really made it my focus and I started competing again in like 2010, I prepped in 2009. I started prepping for a 2010 show. I did like 3 shows in 2010, 3 in 2011, 3 in 2012 in figure. But what happened was they were like there were too many shows in a year that were not close enough. So if you compete, you really want to kind of keep them close. Like if you have a peak week here, you don't want to wait 2 months before your next peak week. Ideally, it would be like you just got another week or two and that's it, right? But when I was competing in figure for the first time, I didn't know this. I didn't have a coach to tell me this. And these are things you learn, right? But so I'm like, I never had enough time to even recover. Basically, I recovered from one show and then started having to cut again for the next show, which was terrible for me because then all I'm doing is basically like eating muscle away for the next show. Because again, I'm not a genetic muscular person. I'm more of the genetic, I was a really skinny kid and it's like, I can't gain muscle. So I will tell you that just have confidence in yourself because you never know who's going to be there and you really don't know what the judges are looking for anyway. And everything you do from now until your show, that's going to be a learning experience for your next competition. It's all about, you know, I have spent from my first show to now 20 years learning all the things, you know, and so it's important to remember those things. So how are you feeling though, besides like nervousness and feeling like you're not where you want to be body fat wise? Are you feeling tired?
Oh yeah. Yeah, tired, hangry. I feel bad for like my family right now because I'm so hungry.
I hear you. I have been there and I'm telling you, it is, it's hard because, you know, a lot of people stop short, you know, of getting to the show because it's just like, you just can't hang. So it's like a mental fortitude thing. It's like, you have to keep reminding yourself, I think, that, you know, you want to do this, right? You put yourself here. You don't have to, you know, but then nobody else has an influence on that either. So, you know, a lot of times, like, you just can't help it. Like, there's stuff going on with your body and your brain and your hormones that sometimes when you're hangry, you just kind of like, that happens. It's okay. You just apologize and you move on. So, you know, I think that's a good thing to remember. So I had the question of, what do you do to get refocused if like you're not feeling it or you want to quit?
I guess for me, it's like, I just have to base everything off of my habits, my daily habits. Like today, I was not wanting to be there. And I was just like, okay, I just have to do the next thing on my list. And like, that was my workout. And I just go to the next thing and I have a timer and I watch that timer and it buzzes on my wrist. And then it's like, you know, I'm like tricking my brain into doing these things even when I don't want to, because it's not really about what I, you know, want in that moment. It's more about like creating these habits to get me to the place that I want to be.
Right. So it's brain tricks.
Whatever works.
So I feel like my answer to that would be, you know, again, it's just, my focus is, because I think once you've done several shows, you know what you're trying to beat, you know, and it's about, for me, it's like, it doesn't matter who's at the show anymore. If I look back at my pictures and I know 100% that I gave my all and I looked better than my show before, then it was a success, right? So I'm always just trying to beat myself, and that's kind of what keeps me pushing. And, you know, when I don't want to do that next workout, I'm like, you know, look, you got goals. And you're not going to beat that person, whether it's yourself or whoever's on the stage next to you, if you stop, you know? So you just got to like sometimes dig it from really deep. But I think, you know, yours is a really good thought too of, you know, you checking off the list. I know too, like when I don't want to work out, it's a habit. And it's like, I do this every day. So it's like, I don't feel right if I don't do it. And, you know, yes, you have to build in rest and everything, but it does become a habit and you feel better after you do it. So that's like, I'm all about the feeling better, you know? So it's like, you know, if you just do it, you know, you feel better when you're done, right? I tell my clients that all the time, just start. Because even if you just start, you're going to do more than if you didn't even, you know, like even 2 minutes is better than nothing. But if you start with 2 minutes, then you can usually keep on pushing. So next question, what's the most challenging part of the whole process of getting ready to compete?
I guess it's just the mental part of, you know, to stay going, to not eat the food, or, you know what I mean? Not to give in to like cravings. And that's probably my hardest part, is the nutrition.
The food.
I mean, just staying on the plan. You know, I envy the people that are perfect and that they eat on their plan completely 100%, because I feel like it's been a struggle this whole time.
Yeah.
Me, still trying to figure it out.
Nobody's perfect, April. Just remember that nobody is perfect. Now, I have been doing this for many, many years, and I will tell you that when I have a coach that I have to answer to, I do tend to stay on path. Like, but I will tell you, it's not easy at all. And it has taken years for me to get to that point. I mean, years. I'm not talking like one. I'm talking about like multiple. And, you know, there were times even, I'm trying to think of what year this is. So in 2009, when I was getting ready to go, you know, start my big journey again, and I'm like, this is it, I'm going to do this. You know, there were times that like I had like just stuff happen, and it was like earth shattering things, you know, that like, and I've told my clients this before, like my dad died in 2011, and it was the same day my husband had open heart surgery. And so nobody was there with me at my house, just Carter, my son, and he was like 6 or 7 at the time. And it was like you want to eat like the entire house. And that happened. And I'm like, but you know what? It's one thing. And so I think the thing is like, if you don't stick to your path 100%, or you don't eat on plan 100%, it's like, it's just the very next meal. You have to turn around. So many people make it into so much more than it needs to be. And we're all human, right? So like, if you go off your plan, then just get right back on. And it's probably not going to matter. What matters is the consistency part with the working out and with how you eat and with the next choice you make, right? So you can just keep on going and just going further and further, you know, but that's like what you learn. I think that you have to, you know, you just have to be, you know, forgiving of yourself, because it's hard. Competition prep is hard. So
really good advice. Really good advice.
Well, so if you know, so food, I think food is one of definitely the most challenging parts of it. So much, there's so many things emotionally that we tend to use food as a comfort, you know, or we use food as a celebration, or we use food, you know, there's so much food everywhere. But, you know, one of the things that I have told myself whenever I'm getting ready to compete and I know that I'm close, it's like, Holly, the food will be there forever. It will always be there. This show is this one day. So you just got to get to this day, right? The food will be there after, you know, and it's like, It will always be there. And it's like, I've had people say, well, you know, my aunt such and such came over and she brought this food that she knows is my favorite, and I don't want to hurt her feelings. And yeah. So it's a choice though, right? And so I tend to be a dessert hoarder. I am a self-professed hoarder when I am prepping for a show. Every time I go to somewhere where somebody has a dessert, they know to give it to me in a baggie or a Tupperware that I can take home and freeze. And I have a stand-up freezer out here, and I just keep all of the desserts. And it's enough dessert for the whole rest of the year. I still haven't gotten through stuff from probably Easter, because I prepped for this show for a really, really long time. So how long have you been in prep?
Well, I had started prep, but then once we did the quarantine for COVID, I pulled back and I gained weight. And, you know, unfortunately, I did not stick to prep during quarantine. But after that, so I had some fat, definitely fat to lose. But I've been in prep now. Let's say it was a little over 12 weeks, because I had to I kind of had to get back into my routine. And then I was able to prep for the November show.
Well, you have been like seriously kicking some butt in the gym and making huge progress, April. You really have. So I want to talk about a little bit. So going into the show, like, do you have concerns? Like, do you have concerns for going to show other than like being nervous?
Yes.
What do you think?
I'm worried about just because I've lost a lot of weight, and I don't, you know, my tummy, I have abs, but then it's like I have also skin from having children, and that worries me. The suit, if it's gonna stick and stay on and stay in place, worries me. I do want to be confident, you know what I mean? Because I feel like that will show if I'm confident. So things like that, I need to get my head in the right place and make sure that I do the full, really enjoy and that moment and just really shine, and not let myself, you know, get in the way.
Yeah. Don't overthink things. I will tell you that you know, one of the reasons I ever competed was because I am not the kind of person who, I won't even wear a shirt that shows my stomach. I'm a very kind of shy person, and I'm like, I would never get up on the stage in a bikini, right? I just can't do that. And so honestly, I did it because it was a challenge for me to break through the fear of being up there in a bikini. And so one of the things that I have learned over the years, and one of the tips I will tell you, is when you're on the stage, honestly, you may have people that know you in the show, or that are there to watch you, but you're there to impress the judges, right? And you don't have a whole lot of time to make an impression. So be confident. And this is something that I tell myself all the time: pretend you're someone else. You're an actress, right? And this is your job. And people that walk out there with confidence, they're probably not that confident. They're just good at appearing confident, right? So it's you have to act like this is a part that you're playing. April is not even here anymore. I am the stage diva. And when I walk on the stage, I demand your attention, right? So you got to, because literally you might be in front of those judges 30 seconds. They might bring you out, turn, off the stage. So you got to make it good. And so just really focus on the practicing every day, on your posing up until then. And I'm sure your coach is having you do that anyway. But honestly, for me, it was not being in my mind, because your mind can make you nervous if you're thinking it. So you got to get out of your own head and don't think it. you know, you've got to think, this is me, I'm confident, but you're not like thinking about where you're going, what you're doing. You just like, I play it in my head, you know, like you're doing figure, right?
Yes.
Okay. So see, I do women's physique and I have a routine. Like we have to do a routine. So honestly, like I knew the song that I was doing my routine to. And every day when I did cardio, I would play the routine in my head. Like what I was looking like, I was watching myself on stage, right? So I didn't practice it every single day like that, but I played it in my head every day.
Wow.
So you need to play your poses in your head and like know exactly what you like. Pretend you're somebody else watching you come out on stage, hit those quarter turns, hit those poses, and like immediately, like when you hit the pose here, they say quarter turn right, you hit it, quarter turn right, you hit it. But in your mind, you got to play that over and over so you know what you want to look like, because I swear to you, it makes a difference. It really does.
Okay.
All right. So those were the questions that I had from other people, but do you, is there anything else you would like to share with viewers who are interested in competing or anything?
Yeah, I guess if you're interested, then I say that you should go for it and find a good coach, because that's going to be the main thing that helps you, is having the right coach and the right people around you. But if you're interested in it, I definitely do it.
Yes, yes. And I just want to add that post competition, be sure, and I'm telling you this too, April, be sure that post competition, I start planning out weeks to months ahead of time what my post competition plan is going to be. Because let me tell y'all, if you're going to compete, you are going to be so hungry at that point when you get to the competition that after the competition, all you're going to think about is all of the food that you can now eat. But you have to have a plan. I call it my plan of controlled re-entry. It's controlled re-entry into life. So it's not just eating everything. So like I will have the post-show cheat meal or whatever, and I may give myself the next day. But then I try, and it's hard. That's the hardest part. The hardest part for me is after the competition and trying to keep it controlled, because your body wants to take in everything at that point, and you can gain fat very easily and multiply fat very easily after a show. So you really need to be planned on, you know, working your way back into regular eating and life. And don't just like cut out your workouts and stuff. You still need those there. So like keep your cardio there. You know, work your way back up in calories, and but keep your training, keep your cardio. And then if you start building again, you can start cutting your cardio back. But right after the show is like your body is just prime time ready to like take everything and store it. So you just really got to be careful with that.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
My coach was giving me a long lecture yesterday about it. Just like random.
Do you want to give a shout out to your coach on here? Who's your coach?
Oh, I train with Justin Rogers, Team Rogers in Greeley, Colorado.
Team Rogers. All right. Well, shout out to Team Rogers, and I'm Coach Holly, if y'all don't know me. So
yes, Holly's awesome.
So you can find me. I'm Fit with Holly on Instagram. And April, you want to give your information?
It's at the number 4 April Rose Getting Fit. And Holly, thank you so much. Like I had no idea how much, like I'm gonna watch this video and write everything down that you said. You're so awesome.
Well, thank you so much for being here with me. And any questions, you know, feel free to get back to me, or anybody watching. If you have questions, you know, contact me. You can follow my journey on Instagram at Fit with Holly, or April's at What She Said. Say it again.
For April Rose Getting Fit.
For April Rose Getting Fit. You can follow our journeys. And so again, thank you, April. And it was great to talk to you.
Thank you, Holly.
All right. See you soon.
See you.
Bye.